I really see my desire for more money as a desire for more love. The more money I make, the more I can spread myself over this world almost, the more I have to give. I have this incredible team that I'm supporting. I get to do all these cool things. I get to spend my money on luxury items that people spend years crafting, whatever, but I can spread my love. And so your desire for more money is a desire for more love. And that is inherently feminine.
Welcome to the Seeing in the Dark podcast, the podcast for the women of the ancient futures. Women that see beyond eyes and know beyond mind and are here to make a change from a deep communion with the mystery of life. Seeing in the Dark is about walking paths that have not been walked before and daring to show up for the mission and dream life that is knocking on your door. My name is Nicole Nyima Costerus, mystic, medium, initiated priestess, and here to take you into the mysteries of purpose, power, ritual, and intuition. May you embody your own unique essence so deeply that your vibration naturally teaches, inspires, and assists others. Let's dive in. In today's episode, I will share with you one of the over 20 masterclasses of the She Who Stands for a New World Global Online Retreat. An online experience with over 20 workshops, masterclasses, and interviews from oracles, wisdom keepers, astrologers, dancers, facilitators, and just a really beautiful variety of people that show up for the world they want to live in. This retreat has been created from the intention to, in these times of change and crisis in the world that can bring up fear and doubt about where we are going as a world, to stand up and show up for your mission, for your business, for the message that you are here to bring for the world. So this global online retreat, She Who Stands for a New World, is there to help you connect to the core of your essence, the heart of your mission, and the soul of your business. So enjoy today's masterclass. If you feel inspired to purchase the whole bundle of over 20 masterclasses, interviews, and workshops, you can purchase the whole bundle for only 47 euros. Link is below this episode. And for now, I wish you an incredible time with today's speaker. Much love. I'm sitting here with Sophie Josephina. And Sophie Josephina is a sex and relating coach and masculine and feminine expert. As an ex-data scientist, she knows how to walk both worlds, walking the bridge between Tantra and Neuroscience, the masculine and the feminine, the dark and the light. She leads powerful programs for men, the initiation, women, healing the masculine, and business like Deep Money and Claim. She's also a host of the podcast Deeper with Sophie Josephina, where she has an open and raw conversation with men on their challenge and desire in relating. And today, Sophie is here with us to speak about money as your lover, dropping to your knees for Sky Daddy, and human as fuck business. Welcome, Sophie. I'm so happy that you are here with us. Warm welcome.
Thank you for having me here. I appreciate it so much. I'm so excited for today.
Yeah, me too. Because actually, we are both from Amsterdam. We both live in the city, and we've been meeting, quite a few times actually over the last year and a half or so. And I have literally seen you and your work explode. Because I think was it last year that you started your business?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have some magic there because you started your business last year and in like a year and a half, it just exploded and grew really, really fast. So you have a natural magic happening there. And I'm really looking forward to be curious with you. I don't even know where to start. I feel like you created this whole movement in a year and a half because I'm actually in marketing training with the Content Queen. And there was this woman in the live call and she said, I really feel I'm surrendered to the Sky Daddy. And I'm like, Sky Daddy? I was like, is that a follower of Sophie? And then she actually asked, Rebecca asked, she said, do you follow Sophie? And she said, yeah, totally. So I feel you create this whole movement where people are actually using like the beautiful wording that you give to the topics that you work with.
Yeah, I love seeing the cosmos or the universe as Sky Daddy, who is just sometimes teasing you, who sometimes just wants to make you wait, who wants to see you beg harder, who's playing with you. And the more I see manifestation or the way we relate to the unseen as something sexy and maybe even a little kinky, the more freedom I feel, the more like spaciousness I feel, the more like lightness actually comes in. And it's a really potent way of just, I think, getting out of our own way and just seeing like, okay, Sky Daddy's playing with me right now. Okay, what are you trying to do? Okay, you want me to drop to my knees? Okay, I'm going to drop to my knees. Right? You want me to want it even harder? Okay, I'll want it even harder.
Can you give an example of that in daily life? Like, what would that look like? Because I do feel that many of us can get frustrated with life, right? When we don't see the results that we want, or when we are not sure if life has got our back. Like, can you give an example in daily life on how that shows up?
So I really work with masculine, feminine dynamics, not just between genders, but within ourselves, between us and God. And what the goal of polarity work, I think, really is to learn to open when we would normally close. And one of the superpowers of the feminine is to want, is to long, is to want to be entered, is to want to be taken to God, is to want to be pushed up that wall, is to want the money. And what happens often is the moment we don't get what we long for, we're on a date and this is not the conscious man that we are trying to call in, many of us deflate, close off, disappointed, think, okay, never mind. I guess this isn't here for me, or there are no conscious men, or who am I to want this, right? We deflate disappointment when the goal of polarity is to actually open even harder. So let's say you want the money and the money isn't coming. Let that just be fuel on the fire of how deeply you actually want it. Can you actually stay open in wanting something when it's not there yet? Because here's the thing, like, I think, especially in the self-development world, we almost talk about business, money, relationships, like it should always be this good thing, when actually real relationships are not like that. So it's the same with money. It's the same with your business. It's the same with attracting a lover, right? You can have an incredible relationship and it can end. Nobody did anything wrong, right? That's just how life moves. Life is cyclical. It's the feminine. There are on and off moments. And it's the same with money. So I have a very healthy relationship to money. And there are months where it just seems harder. But can I, when it's harder, still root down in my trust, in my longing, open in my longing? Just exactly what I said earlier. If you're on a date with, you want to call a conscious man in and you're on a date with somebody and he's really not that, instead of thinking, oh, okay, never mind. Oh my God, thank you, beautiful man, because you remind me how badly I want this. You've just reminded me of how deep my longing is for that conscious man. And I love you. And there's no judgment to you, but you were just fuel on my fire. And then everything in life just becomes a catalyst for you to drop even deeper down into what you want and what you need.
Yeah. Do you feel that's something that was already naturally with you, or did you train yourself to meet life in this way?
It's been interesting because I saw my business grow very differently than it does for most people. So it's like, okay, what's different here? I think I've had a cellular belief that, for instance, money is there for me, that God is there for me, Sky Daddy is there for me, that the cosmos is there for me. I feel very supported by masculine energy. And I haven't had a life which has just been amazing and easy, not at all. But I've always had this cellular belief that I'm going to be supported. And by trade, I'm a statistician. I'm a data scientist. And I remember even 10 years ago, if I would play poker, I would fully believe that I would win, even though it made like mathematically no sense, but I would fully believe that I would win. And it's the same with, like, I'm bad with money. I don't save it at all. I've had many times where I was like, oh gosh, we're at the end of the rainbow here. And then money would just show up again. It would always just show up. And so I think I feel it feels cellular. It feels like a cellular belief that the masculines got my back and that I'm supported. And I've noticed in the people that I work with and that I run my workshops for, that is something we all have in us. And it's the remembering, because all our inner feminines want to live like that. And so I don't have to teach you this. I only get to help you remember this, because it's something innate in everybody. It's just like, oh yeah, of course you've got my back. I don't have to do this. You do this.
No, because that was my next question, because you feel it was so inherently already present with you. Like, how do you then teach that to others, right? Is that something that you can teach? And you say it's not necessarily teaching, it's just about remembering what is already there.
It's very much in the erotic. So I I don't want to put myself into like the goddess category of teachers, but I think especially for us with money or maybe also with business, it's such a beautiful place where our animal meets our spirit. So our survival of like, oh my God, I need to make money, otherwise I'm going to die, meets the gifts that want to work through us. And I think the most beautiful bridge actually for that is sexuality, is eros, is feeling the life eros almost. Right? Sky Daddy is erotic. Me creating money is erotic. My business feels erotic. And not in the sense that everything is about self-pleasure per se, but there's this masculine, feminine, the chemistry, the polarity, the tension is in everything. And so when I'm thinking about how I'm manifesting, instead of me sitting in my little room, having my vision board, thinking only good thoughts, that's not how sex works, right? If we work really hard, that's not when the best sex happens either. The best sex happens actually when we give a real big permission slip to who we are in that moment, what's alive in that moment, to who our partner is in that moment. So if I bring that same energy to my business, to my money, things move very differently. So for instance, I'm not somebody who thinks you need to be in a high frequency to do well or to attract.
That is such a powerful thing that you're saying there. Because I think this is such a maybe almost toxic belief that runs through the conscious community of I need to all the time be in alignment. And maybe when I wobble, that has immediate effect on my results. And so there's this panic almost around the need to stay aligned. So I love this piece, what you're sharing here. Can you share a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I love saying the sentence, consciousness doesn't give a shit about your prettiness. Like really think about this, like the highest level of consciousness. Do you think it gives a shit if you've meditated 3 times today? Right? It doesn't need you pretty. It wants you real. And that's not always pretty. So I love doing things like shadow brags and the work from Existential King of actually becoming really in tune with all your ugly and messy and chaotic. Like I've been doing self-development work for so long. I'm not devoid of anything. I still get super jealous. I still get triggered. I still get all of these things, but I actually play with it now. I actually honor it now. I'm like, okay, there it goes, my little gremlin. I make lots of money. I don't want to look at my bank account. I still do that, right? And I love it now. I dance with it now. And that's a very different energy than thinking, oh, I should always be high frequency and high vibes and alignment because otherwise I won't attract. In my experience, consciousness, God does not give a shit about how pretty you are today or how put together you are.
Yeah, I love that.
That's not how life starts flowing. Life often starts actually flowing and acknowledging the muck.
And I feel it's also the place where people can relate with us so much more easily, right? When we can show our humanness and share from our realness instead of the need to put that like perfect image out there. So it works both ways. Yeah. So there's 2 things I really notice in you and your work and the way you are sharing about it. One, I feel that you approach your business as if it's, or it is, but as if it's a relationship or a lover. You approach 100%. Money like a lover. And in that relationship, you are really like flirting. I see this energy in you a lot. This like flirtatious energy. Can you share a little bit more around meeting money and your business as a lover and having this flirtation energy in there?
So for instance, I'm feeling into whether or not I'm going to launch a certain course again. And instead of me going into my mind and into the old-fashioned masculine things, I need to just figure it all out. I think about the smartest decision and do all the strategy. I literally have conversations with Sky Daddy where I say, okay, you want me to launch again? Give me signs. Otherwise, I'm not doing it. Right? You want me to do it? Make it so good that I have no other choice but to go do it. Like I challenge him. I play with him. I'm like, okay, you want, like I did a course on money. It's like, you want me to do a course on money? I want to have at least 10 DMs of people saying out of the blue that they'd love to learn about money from me. And then they were there. Okay,
amazing.
You got me. I'm there. Because I truly think, it's like you're also a medium. I truly think that the unseen world loves to be involved and loves to play. And so when we actually incorporate them and say, okay, and not so serious, just, okay, you want me to do that? Then make it worthwhile. Give me the 10 or whatever it is, just kind of teasing. Like they love playing with us like that. And so I very much do that in my business. I very much do that in my money and all of the things, because it's, again, you could feel the eroticness or the flirtation is attractive. It's not manipulative. It's attractive because it's attractive to be a little bit mysterious. It's attractive to play a little bit. It's attractive to not be overly available. All that is attractive. Attraction to me literally means that one energy wants to move to another energy. Well, that's polarity, right? So I'm constantly in the, how can I let life move more?
Yeah.
And it's really fun.
It is. Yeah. So if there's now like, if women are listening now and they're like, well, I never approached money as my lover or my business, like, what are some of the first steps that they can take in order to like build that lovership with money and their business?
So how I like to see money is both from the feminine and the masculine. So there is I think, especially as women, and the feminine is so yummy to talk about, and it's really easy to want the masculine things outside of us. But as long as I'm always looking for it outside of me, there's a neediness. As long as I always want a man outside of me to hold me and hold space for me, I'm going to be needy, and he's actually going to resist it. So I have to build that within me. That also means with my business, as I can have the most incredible, energetic, seductive course and launch, but if I don't have a good payment link, people won't come. They can feel it. They can feel that it's not completely safe. I can say, oh my God, I want $1 million to come my way. But if I don't have the structures to hold $1 million, even if $1 million wanted to come to me, it couldn't. So the masculine to me in money is this beautiful practice of, can I be the bridger? Can I have all the things in place so that things can materialize, so things can come to me? Do I have all the payment structures? Do I have all my tax things? Right? Is everything safe to come? And this is, I think, a step that a lot of us don't think is sexy, don't think is important, or, but actually the deeper we allow our masculine in our business and our money to root down, the bigger our feminine can become. The more I'm aware of my structures, I'm aware of everything that's moving in my business. I have a great accounting team. The more money can come, because it's like, yeah, it's nice to be here. It's safe to be here. It's really enjoyable. And that makes sense, right? So that's on the masculine side. On the feminine side, this is where it gets really fun of really, when somebody, for instance, gives you money, instead of thinking, oh my God, I feel guilty. And it's the same if somebody, I don't know, give you oral sex and you're like, oh, I shouldn't, and I should give something back. That's really sad for the person that's giving you something. They want to gift you that. And so part of your gift to them is actually receiving. So can I receive money as if it's a dirty text from a lover that's just saying, I'm going to come over tonight and I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to do with you. There's just this money that came in that God knows what we're going to do with that. There's a naughtiness to that, right? So really training your nervous system to actually open every time. When I spend money, can I bring the energy of almost giving a blowjob, right? I'm going to give this. It's not about the money I'm losing. It's about this thing that I'm giving or this thing that I'm receiving because of that. Like sex and these like parallels of sexuality, I think make it so much more relatable of how can we train our nervous system to open up in pleasure. That's the superpower of the feminine. And again, I don't consider myself a goddess teacher, but to open up in pleasure and into expansion whenever we go into an exchange. So money is so deeply erotic. It's really fun. Like for instance, let's say you want to make a certain amount of money that you've never been able to make. Instead of thinking, oh my God, I don't even know what that is. You could bring the same energy of that you are fantasizing about a threesome you've never had before, right? There's a threesome I've never had before, but I can fantasize about it. That's the same with the money you've never had. You can fantasize about what that would be like, how that could feel, how that could come to you, what that's going to look like. And so really allowing yourself to really see money as your lover, then every contraction gets to soften.
And I think it's also, as I'm listening to you and just feeling into my life, it's also really helping the body to prepare, like to actually being able to receive that, right? When it does come. Because what I've seen also in the last year and a half as my business grew a lot, I hit that ceiling quite a few times, where I think like, oh, I'm actually really comfortable receiving this now. And then a bigger wave comes and then my whole system goes like, and just hitting that ceiling. And I feel like that flirtation and that like tuning into that vibration when it does come and flirting with that helps the body also to prepare ourselves in that frequency.
And this is a really beautiful point that you're talking about, because you often see this when people win the lottery, is that they actually are way less happy because they're shocked. And so we can shock our system into goodness. If I just gave you a lot of money that you're not used to today, you're going to go into a freeze.
Yeah.
And so when a lot of us have these unrealistic expectations of like, oh, I just want to have $1 million. It's actually not true, because if I gave you $1 million today, you would probably not know what to do. And so the practice with money is actually the patience of letting your nervous system stretch. And so when you are, I don't know, charging $60 an hour right now, do not give yourself the expectation of charging 1,000 because your nervous system literally can't hold it.
No.
And there's nothing wrong with that because it's just a number. It doesn't matter anything. And so can I stretch my nervous system from 60 to 100? Where is it slightly uncomfortable, but edgy and okay to be in?
Yeah.
And that's the practice of also in charging and in probably in anything with life is can we just find the edge instead of the freeze? And so I think a lot of people have these unrealistic ideas of like, oh, I want $1 million or I want money to save me. Right? Oh, but if I make that money, then I'm going to be safe. And that's a wounded feminine thought. Money's not going to save you. I can tell you, it doesn't matter how much I make, the same shit comes up. It's slightly different, but the same shit comes up, the same beliefs, the same stuff. Like how I felt about making 100,000 is how I feel about making $1 million now. Like the same stuff comes up because it's actually not that much about the number. And so to also release that money, just like the king or the amazing man isn't going to save me because I'm going to have to sit with myself.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to sit with myself in any of those cases. He's not just going to make it all go away. Money's not going to make it all go away.
Yeah. Beautiful. And I love this, like this stretching. And there were a few other interviews where we've been talking about the comfort zone and the stretching zone and the panic zone. And this is also what you're pointing towards again, to allow the nervous system to stretch, because when it panics, it closes down and it can actually not receive anymore or give anything out. And it's also like coming back to the lottery, why a lot of people, when they win a lot of money and have that shock, they lose it also very quickly, or they spend it like very chaotically. And there's like no container that can hold that or digest that.
That's also a beautiful point that you're talking about now. I call this the cycles of starvation and overindulgence. I know I've done that and I still do that many times. I think a lot of women do that because we're so raised in the normalization of starvation, right? I'm not hungry. I don't need much. I'm not high maintenance, right? We've normalized modesty. We think that's so important. And we've normalized starvation that what you see in a lot of people is they go through, I'm not hungry, to, oh my God, I need all the food. And I'm going to give myself the permission to eat all the food. Feels empowered, but it's actually still a protest to having starved yourself. And so I love working with the sentence of like the girl starves herself and the woman feeds herself and nourishes herself so that she can thrive. And so also with money, allowing yourself to actually want not what you need to survive, but what you need to thrive. To actually, it starts from there. It starts from you actually admitting to yourself, I want more. Yeah, okay, great. This money that I have, of course, I'm super grateful, but I want more. And that doesn't mean that the current amount is wrong. You just want more of this thing that tastes so good. Of course you want more. I think a lot of feminine beings, we get to do so much deconditioning to give ourselves the space to actually feel what we want and to be high maintenance and to be the diva, and to go into those shadows that we've been taught you're not allowed to be that. Right. I know when I've spoken about this before, when I started this business, I right away said that this is going to be $1 million business or at least like multiple six figures. And I lost friends over that desire because they said, who are you to want that? You don't need that. Why do you need that? And so that's so deeply ingrained in us that we shouldn't want more than we need.
Yeah, I can totally relate with that because until 2019, I was making exactly enough in money to do whatever I wanted to do, but not more than that. And I think the moment where I decided, okay, I'm going to show up more fully, I'm going to charge more money, I want to make more money, is actually also when it started happening. And I had to meet these fears of rejection because I feel there is a group in the conscious community also that holds judgment towards money and holds judgment towards people that make a lot of money. And there is just this overall rejection towards money that for me was actually quite difficult to really acknowledge and stand up in that.
Yeah. And I have two things on that. One is it's really hard to resent the thing you were trying to call in. If I say rich people suck and then I'm trying to expand my wealth, like that's like what's happening there. And now I shadow brag about it, then that makes it lighter. But and the other thing is to see the sacredness that is in your desire for money. I really see my desire for more money as a desire for more love. The more money I make, the more I can spread myself over this world almost. The more I have to give. I have this incredible team that I'm supporting. I get to do all these cool things. I get to spend my money on luxury items that people spend years crafting, whatever, but I can spread my love. And so your desire for more money is a desire for more love. And that is inherently feminine. That's beautiful. Of course you want that. Of course you want to expand yourself in that.
Yeah. And it just opens up so much more possibility. That's what I've been experiencing so much in the last year and a half. So much possibilities open up. And just this sense of abundance, like you said, there is a team and I can pay my team well instead of like everything needs to be on the basis of exchange because I don't have the money to pay you, which keeps this whole like mentality intact. And yeah, it just opens a lot of possibilities.
Yeah. I feel that with my wealth, I'm able to honor energy so much more. I'm able to exactly what you're talking about with your team. Like I get to honor people's gifts and respect them for it and build them up through it. Like money is so much more than just like evil and patriarchy. It's what you like.
Yes.
I love thinking about money as something extremely malleable. It fits around everybody. So when money comes to me, money becomes my thing. And what do I spread it to? Like what's the love that I'm penetrating with my heart into the world? That's what I'm doing with my money. I'm literally spreading Sophie.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that you always need to want more, because I know maybe you're listening to this and think, oh my God, I should want more. No, because it's different for everybody. I am still expanding into where I want to be. For some people, their thriving level happens at a very different number than it does for me. And so numbers also don't mean anything. I know people with multiple $1 million businesses and they're not happy. It's malleable. It's so fluid. It's almost you can't compare it. So what money does for me, what it means for me, and the numbers that it means for me is very unique to me.
Yeah. I do love this piece that you're bringing in about honor, because I really relate with that. I'm able to honor even the deeper intelligence of life and how it moves me in each moment. Because before then, I would have a much easier like wall that I would bump into because there was not enough money to go there, for example. Whereas when there is more in abundance of that, I am able to flow so much more freely with how life wants to move me and the intelligence that moves me in that.
Yeah, exactly. So money can also be this vehicle where you get to partake in life.
Yes, exactly.
You get to be part of it and you get to exchange with life. And money's not the only way, but money's a very powerful way.
Yeah. And I think then besides rejection, like on a personal level that we can hold, like rejection towards rich people or rejection about wanting more money, there can also be, and this one I hear very often, a rejection towards the money system. And actually that rejection also, it's very hard for more money to flow into our lives. And my experience so far is through fully embracing the money flow, we can actually change the money system, but from the inside out. But it's through fully embracing that it can transmute through our bodies and can be experienced more as love coming out into the world. Or like you said, like how does Sophie want to now ripple this wave out into the world?
Yeah, I really live my business through the mantra that I honor the containers that hold me. So even social media, even Instagram, that is censoring lots of people, right? I still honor it. I see Instagram as a temple. It's a temple that I get to pray at that has made my work available to so many people that would have never seen it. I am so grateful for it. It doesn't mean that I am turning a blind eye to all the things that are wrong with it. Absolutely not. But I bring the energy of honoring it because it is holding me. Right? It is holding my business. And the same with my payment systems. There's many things that are wrong with it and that I don't agree with. And I honor it because thank you. Thank you. Because of you, I'm able to build up this business. And so that is my version of rebellion almost, but to still bring the honoring energy for what's holding you, because otherwise you're going to energetically bring a very strange imprint to like, I have to use Instagram, but I hate who's behind it, but I have to. You're going to bring a very strange energy when actually you're there anyways. What if you brought the devotion? What if you could devote the platform? Because it's not just these like shitty people that have too much power. It's also all your followers, right? It's also all these amazing other creators and beautiful people. So can we bring back the devotion to what holds us, even when we don't agree with everything that's happening there?
Beautiful. So I think you actually have some beautiful questions, right? For the women to explore a bit more inside of themselves in connection to money.
Yeah, it's actually a few things we already spoke about, but I have 5 journaling questions. The first one is very much on what we've been talking about. What if we would really imagine money as our lover? Like if you would just imagine it in front of you, that money is your lover and maybe it has specific gender, maybe it doesn't, but it's somebody you go on a sexy date with, who has like sends you sexy messages, somebody who knows your body, somebody who loves interacting with you. And you literally imagine him, her, them standing in front of you right now. How would you describe your current lovership with them? Is it hot and sexy? Is it unpredictable? Is it cold? What's the lovership like? Because when we talk about the lovership, it's a two directions. So how are you making love to them and how are they making love to you? Needy. So what are like the three words that come up if you tap into your lovership with money? I know for me, many times it felt really needy, right? Like, I need you, I need you, I need you, you need to come to me. Oh, right? And so it's good to sometimes check into that. Like, how am I actually relating? What is the flavor or the texture between me and money or between me and my business, right? What's the flavor? What's the texture? And so to, again, not to make wrong what is there, but to honor what's there. If your relationship with money is this super needy, toxic, I don't know, they're cheating on each other, whatever. If that's what's coming up, great. Then we know where to start.
Yes. Or like completely neglecting and ignoring. I know the neediness very much, but I also know the part of me that neglected it was like ignoring it and not really even building a relationship with it.
Yeah. These things like not checking your bank account. It's like I'm just going to pretend you're not here because it's too painful to look at you. Right. Yeah. Well, imagine that if you would treat your lover like that. Oh my gosh. they would close down. And so just to become aware of the flavor and the texture in there. And then the other part that I think we spoke about this before, I think the second question I have for you is what comes up when you think of people who make lots of money? What do you think? What do you think they are? What do you think they do? Like, well, what's the first thing that comes up when you think of people who make lots of money? What is I call it the ink blob test. What are the attributes you just give them without knowing anything about them? And this is a good check. Like I live in a building with really rich people and I catch myself so many times that I think they're superficial and then I think they're mean and then I think they're this and I think they're that. And it's so interesting because I know nothing about these people. And it reveals something about a stage I'm working towards to get. Right. So as long as I think that these people must be unkind or manipulative, that's an imprint I'm almost telling myself, like I'm trying to get somewhere which is actually kind of manipulative. And so to just catch yourself, again, not to make it wrong, but I now, whenever it happens, I literally laugh with my partner. I'm like, oh my God, I thought this person was X, Y, Z. And we're like, yeah, okay. It's to laugh about it, to just set it free a little bit. Like, oh, there goes my inner gremlin again. Not to judge it, just to become aware of the glasses you're wearing. And then my third question is, what's the difference between you and a more wealthy person? And so that might be that you think they're more consistent, they were born in wealth, they have more support, what's the thing that's coming up? What do you think is the difference between you and a more wealthy person? And that often shows us kind of the beliefs we have about ourselves, why we think it's not available to us. It shouldn't be available to us because X, Y, Z. And here's what I do with these things. I go and find proof of the opposite. So when, for instance, I think I've had this I have ADHD really badly. I've always thought the people who are more successful are people who can actually be consistent and show up for their work and do their shit and all of that. And I challenged myself. I'm like, I'm going to find evidence of people who are wealthy and who are not like that. And my current coach, Simone Graciole, has terrible ADHD in the multi-million business, not by neglecting her ADHD, but actually working with it. And so I'm constantly seeing evidence of the opposite. And so I challenge myself on my belief systems. I'm like, okay, I think that's true. So sky daddy, show it to me. Give me the people who are not like that.
Beautiful. Yeah. When you ask the second question, what do you think about rich people? I know I ask myself this question regularly. And I noticed that I expanded in that. So since Women of Ancient Futures grew to a multiple six-figure business, I think much more like beautiful about people with multiple six-figure income. And even like now starting to get to know more people that make $1 million, I noticed that there also my beliefs have relaxed a lot. I noticed where they start to kick in is about billionaires. Then I start to have these like contracted ideas of like, wow, whatever they're doing must be shady somehow, you know? Yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah, there's a few people in our field that are extremely successful at this work. And I hear myself with my girlfriends talking judgmental things about them, and not to judge my judger, but it's just interesting to catch that, okay, apparently this is how I view them. This is what I think is wrong with them, when actually they could just, I want to get where they are. And so can I see them through that lens of love and see the human that's there? And that's just been really good at creating. Right. And that's something I wish for myself too.
Beautiful.
Okay. Question 4 is a shadow brag. So I love shadow bragging, which is a kind of a concept from this book, Existential Kink, one of my favorite books, but she really has this concept of there's a kinky aspect to all of our suffering. So dating the unavailable man is kind of, it hurts really good. That's why we keep going back, because it just hurts so good. And so a part of that is kind of becoming honest about all the weird things you do that you don't tell anybody. So that might be, I don't know, lying on your Tinder profile about how tall you are or whatever, these kind of things. But what are your shadow brags on money, right? What are the things you don't really want to tell anybody about your money and how you treat money? And that might be what we talked about, never checking your bank account, not paying your bills because you hope people will forget, spending way too much, spending all your money on makeup and not on food, whatever. What are your shadow brags on money? What is the icky thing you do there? And just laying it out in the open. Here is my stuff that I do. Because I'm calling it a brag, right? It's, can I brag a little bit like, well, you know, this thing I've been doing?
What is one of your shadow brags around money?
I think I have a very strange thing where I will spend literally hundreds of dollars on skincare or on like supplements. And then when we go to shoes, I'm like, no.
That's so interesting. Because like I was asking myself, what is my shadow brag around money? And I can pay thousands and thousands and thousands of euros on my coaches and on support and like deepening in my purpose and my message for this world. Fine. But then when I see this like vegan, cruelty-free, really beautiful organic hair product that maybe are like 30 euro per shampoo, it's fine. But then I'm like thinking about it for 2 weeks, you know, it's really ridiculous, but it's true and weird.
Yeah. And we all have this because we were taught different things about different categories of money. And that's again, the number actually doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Because $100 that I spend on supplements doesn't feel the same as $100 on shoes. $100 on shoes is like a push for me. I find that so hard to do. Like my partner's always laughing at me because I have a very successful business and I'm literally walking on shoes from H&M that I bought 5 years ago that were 20 euros. Like those are my shoes. Right? Like, it doesn't make any sense. And then all these boxes of supplements just keep coming. And that says something about what we think it means. So I think supplements mean that I take responsible care for myself. Whereas shoes, I have coded that a little bit in my system as an extra.
Yeah.
And so I'm okay with spending that money on that one category because I think, no, but I'm taking care of myself. And we should.
Yeah, I relate to that. For me, the shampoo would maybe be like, is that really necessary? You know, I would ask myself questions like that. Is that really necessary? And as long as it's in service of my purpose, it's fine. But then outside of that, it becomes a little bit more difficult.
Exactly. Yeah. So shadow bragging. And then my last question is, what do you love about money? What do you actually love about money? Can you feel through all the muck and the contractions and all of it? What do you love about money?
Yeah. Like what comes up for me is like I said it before already, but the possibilities that open. Yeah. I really love that. Yeah. And the sense of freedom. And not that only money is connected to freedom, but I do experience an immense amount of freedom that makes it available as well.
And it's really important that we connect to what we love about money, because this is also the gift actually from the feminine to the masculine, is the gift of devotion, right? It's, oh my God, thank you for opening me. Oh my God, thank you for holding me. Wow. It's so wonderful laying in your arms. That's what nourishes the masculine, right? And then the circle continues, but it's this gift of devotion. So if we are only in this needy thing with money, I'm like, oh my God, I need you. And I'm so confused about you, blah, blah, blah. And we never connect to the love. I think we stop the energy circle somewhere. And so also loving every dollar. I know sometimes like, I don't know, I wanted to have an X amount in a launch and it was less than that. And it's so easy to then think, okay, well, that sucked. But to actually love every dollar that comes in, every cent that comes in, because it's the devotion to itself, to the money itself, not to the number. So every dollar tastes good. Everything in that is beautiful. Even if you barely make money to survive, can you like rejoice in the money that came in so that you can just barely afford your rent? Can you rejoice in that? Can you just enjoy it and be like, oh my gosh, this is so beautiful. Thank you. That was amazing. Oh, I can pay my rent now. Because this is really the feminine has a gift of to light up a room, to just kind of sing song and dance through the room and just make everything a little bit brighter, or to shaktify a room and put things up. But she has a way of beautifying and kind of brightening up the room she's in. And that's almost the same with money. It's like, it's the more I am in this relationship of, oh my God, I love you. This is so good. I enjoyed this so much. Look how pretty you are. Like all of that. For me, in my experience, the more the energy starts flowing.
Yeah.
Really bringing in this devotion. Can I devote you?
Yeah. And I love what you share here, because that devotion is not connected to the number. So even when we don't have a lot of money, we can still bring that devotion. And I remember like times where I would have money on my altar and I wouldn't have money on my bank account necessarily.
Yeah.
But for the money being on my altar, I could bring that devotion and build that relationship and deepen the connection that I have with it. Yeah. And that can come at any level of income.
Yeah, it's the same as the masculine, right? If we will only devote him when he is like a black belt or relating and, I don't know, super present king, then we're very conditional in our devotion. When actually we could say like, oh my God, I saw you were present there for a millisecond. It was so delicious. And I saw you were trying. Oh my God, that was so good, right? That builds up the masculine. That's the one thing the masculine loves to hear, being acknowledged in what his intentions and what he's trying to do. And so that not to release ourselves from this conditional devotion, like I will be happy when I make a lot of money. I will love money when there's more of it. No, can I love it now exactly as it is and see what it's giving?
Beautiful. So before we complete this, because I think it's a really juicy conversation and we could share lots more about it, but I feel already a lot of richness has been shared here. Is there anything that you would love to share, like to complete this journey with money as a lover?
I love going to the practice of actually letting it crack you open, because your thirst for more is insatiable. So you're never going to have enough. But that doesn't mean you should stop wanting. Want and let it literally crack you open. Want that new partner so badly that it hurts. Want that more money so badly that it almost breaks you open. I love dropping to my knees to Sky Daddy to say, oh my God, I fucking am begging you, please bring this to me. I can't wait anymore. I can't handle it, right? Bring that energy. Let it crack you open. Let it become like almost unbearable how deeply you want something. That moment, that energy, that sparks what makes the world go round.
Yeah, big thank you for the work that you share here, but also the work that you share for this world. It's really powerful, transformational, and super inspiring. And also for you, beautiful women, please share your experience in the Facebook group and let's continue our conversation around money in there. And I wish you a lot of joy with exploring the other speakers of today. Much love. Did you receive any inspiration, motivation, or powerful breakthroughs by listening to this episode? Then please share this episode by taking a screenshot and tagging me in your stories at nicole.nyima.costerus. I would love to celebrate you, share you in my stories, and it would mean so much to have my work reach more powerful, passionate women like you. Thank you so much and looking forward to see you next week.